What is up, my man? How's it going?
Hey, thank you for having me.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Who are you?
I'm Christian Buelna. I'm owner of Angry Dog and
Awesome.
also part of Sadies Benz.
Welcome back. Justin Joy is a special guest today. We are going to kick this off by just figuring out who are you? Who's sitting on the couch? Where'd this all begin? Let's just talk about it. Just start from wherever this came from.
Sounds good. I guess I'll start early. So I'll start how Sadies Benz kind of came about back about 10 years ago. So started actually in church. I was at church and my partner Drew, my buddy who I've been making music with the Sadies Benz this whole time, just moved in from North Carolina. I remember him sitting down in church, and I remember looking at him, introducing myself because he's like my age. I was hyped someone like my age moved in, so. And I just remember asking him, do you know who Deadmau5 is?
Oh, yeah.
From there, he absolutely did, and we just hit it off from there. I remember I found out he made music. I was interested in making music, and it kind of went from there. He started coming over, and we decided to start our own thing. And then also eventually going down maybe a few months later, we met Jason, who's now Cash Colt, and he joined us for a bit, actually. We were actually a trio for a bit, so we had a ton of fun. We were 16, 17 at the time. We actually started playing a lot of house parties. Okay. That was kind of thing. Probably my least favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Because, the amount of requests, everyone coming up asking what to do. But eventually we moved on. We started playing some good venues, such as Show Palace, Oceanside. Awesome. That was a trip. I know it's abandoned now, but shout out to that place. Yeah. We had a lot of fun there.
For sure.
And then we did some Fox Theater Pomona, some other venues. We had a lot of fun, honestly. And then from there, we kind of all went to school. Eventually Drew moved to Arizona, which kind of hurt. Him moving away, I was really bummed on that one. Yeah. And then I moved up to school to Pomona. Okay. And Jason stayed local here. So, we kind of we didn't take a hiatus, but it kind of just unofficially happened. Yeah. And we kind of just did our own thing for many years. Unfortunately, with Sadies Benz, we kind of, when it came to making music, we kind of ran into some trouble with labels. Had some really bad experiences. It kind of really put a damper on what we were doing. Yeah. It's just bum when you're, doing what you're doing and you're just, going through that. So, yeah. I think it kind of enforced us kind of taking that break and that hiatus and kind of focusing on our own thing. So we kind of did. Fast forward 5-6 years later, I just decided one day to start up Angry Dog, which I just remember calling up my sister and just being like, hey, had this vision, thought about my past, how much I missed it, how much I loved it, passion for the scene and all that, and how I want to jump into it, but I want to go get a different experience with what I learned from it. Okay. So from there, Angry Dog kind of formed just kind of like that. Me and my sister started it up, and then going down the line, about 6 months going to Angry Dog, I decided, you know what, let me hit up Drew and see if he's down to do Sadies Benz. Jason had already started his own thing as Cash Colt, so Drew was all for it. So we started back up with Sadies Benz, and fast forward to a little bit of today, that's where I'm at now. So Angry Dog is now over a year old, and Sadies Benz, we started releasing new music, and it's been great so far. I missed it a ton, and it feels really good to be back.
Yeah, that's one thing I do appreciate about you is you've taken, what you would classify as a negative experience, and you've learned from it, and you've moved on to make something great from the future. Where I feel like a lot of people, they have a bad experience and they just quit, or they get unmotivated. But I noticed, after talking to you so many times, over the last couple of weeks, you take your experiences that you've been through and you just you learn from it. Okay, what can I do better? What can I, on to the next thing, So let's talk about Sadies Benz a little bit. So as you mentioned, he moved to Arizona. So how's the music process working when it comes to writing or composing going? Because I know that could be a challenge.
Yeah, so right now, actually, he moved from Arizona. He's now actually in Portland. He's in Portland, Oregon.
Oh,
now.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So he's even further now, which is even more of a bummer.
Yeah, I know, right? Jeez.
But no, we do everything via Discord.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we share all the production to that. We can share our sounds, what we're doing, the files, and do all that. So, at first it was a little bit of a challenge for us, but now we've got it down.
For
But it's a lot different than being in person.
Yeah.
I do miss that because bouncing off ideas one another when you're in the same studio. You can just flow so much better.
Oh yeah.
I feel like sometimes over the computer you can get a little frustrated, this and that.
Or it's like freezing or like lagging on you. You're like, oh my god.
yeah, exactly. So we have those issues sometimes. But over the last 6 months since doing that, we've banged out a good amount of tracks. So we figured it out.
There's a lot of bands, like I know Depeche Mode, all the guys, they all live in different states and areas, and they all make it work. So I actually think it is common with bigger groups, but obviously their production and everything kind of is a little more of a big deal when it comes to, it'll take 3 months out of the year just to stay in one house somewhere and get it done. So do you think there's any possible chance of geographically coming back in the same area in the future, or is it?
I hope because I know Drew and his his girl, they have all their family over here in Southern California, so I've been hoping that they come back. And actually going to visit here soon, so I'm looking forward to seeing him then.
Try and get some stuff made while he's here.
No, honestly, we haven't seen each other in person in probably about 5 years.
Wow.
It's been that
crazy.
Long.
Well, you're making it work. That's what counts. Other people would fold, but you're making it work. So that's really good. So okay, with Angry Dog, so what's the vision? I know you and I talk about it elaborately.
So I have a big vision for Angry Dog. And I guess the reason, my philosophy, where it stems from, is just my experience that I went through with Sadies in the very beginning when I started. I won't name the label that we signed to, but when we signed with them, we did lock down a 5-year contract when we signed with them. Unfortunately, we found out they didn't offer a community, they didn't offer a scene. They basically were just taking our tracks, mastering them, throwing artwork on them, and then just getting them out. No marketing, no promo behind them. All the artists were kind of just left for themselves.
Wow.
And then the percentage they were taking as well. I mean, we were making pennies for what we were doing.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was just a really bad experience, and I just for what we did and all that, I just didn't want anyone else to go through that. I know as artists in this EDM scene, no matter what genre you're in, it can be extremely tough.
It is.
When you don't have a team, you don't have that support, man. It can be a downer sometimes. Because it's hard to do this stuff. It really is. And it's, so I wanted to create that community and that scene for artists. I wanted to provide that for them. So that's my long-term goal with Angry Dog, is to really build it as a true community, where basically it's a haven for artists that they come, we grow them, we support them, we reach their max potential. That's really my vision.
House Haven, January 19th. Anyway, but okay, I mean, I wholeheartely agree. As I mentioned in the last podcast with Riston, we were kind of talking about support and, whether you're signed under somebody or not, it's important to have a group of people that are kind of on the same road with you, because if not, you could do it by yourself, but those times when you're starting to have trouble and, I don't know what I should do here, what I should do there, and it helps just to have those people who go, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What's kind of your, what's the next move that we should go, blah, blah, stuff like that. I mean, especially even with this podcast, as you see, my buddies here, they're helping out. So I appreciate you guys once again. So, I mean, so onward into the future, how much are you wanting to grow the collective? Are you just trying to keep it, kind of like tight knit right now until it really starts to take off? Are you wanting to grow as much to provide that community right now? What are you feeling when it comes to that?
When it comes to growth, I want to take the right approach. For me, I want to really build more of that family feel. That's probably the most important thing to me, because as communities and all that, especially this scene, there can be some tiffs, some arguments, and some disagreements over this and that. So when you got that family feel, it kind of eliminates all that. And that's probably the most important thing for me, is that we all feel comfortable with one another. And that's what I want to strive for when I bring anyone onto the team, is that they have the same vision, the same feelings about that. They're not just trying to go in and just make a ton of money, just what I mean. So
have you run into a lot of people like that are maybe come off a little off-putting because they may have good goals for themselves, but their justification behind them aren't necessarily pure? They're just wanting to kind of...
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's out there. I think, I'd probably seen it more prevalent these days than I did about 9-10 years ago when I first started. I felt like, Plur was actually a thing when, back in those days. And it was just more of a really cool community, honestly, back then.
Yeah.
But now I just feel like, it's a little bit more prevalent, especially with social media. When we first started,
that's what I was
social
just about to
media
ask,
wasn't really, I think Instagram came out a year after we started Sadies Benz.
Ooh, yeah.
So social media now has just added a whole completely different aspect where people are just so hungry for those likes, those follows. They kind of do anything to justify getting those things.
Yeah. When Matt and I we started doing YouTube when I was in 8th grade. And that's before any of that started coming out, and I definitely, once that released, Instagram, Facebook, you could just feel the whole shift. Now, good and bad alike, it definitely helps us with all the, extra exposure and sharing. And I feel like if anything, it's been easier to kind of build a community with social media. It's hit or miss some days. I feel, you're interacting with people, they don't interact back, or, you follow people, they don't follow back. But I think for every bad experience, there's 2 good experiences. So that's kind of, I think it's what you take of it. It just depends. But
no, absolutely.
Going from there, what is your focus with when it comes to social media? Is it, are you trying to make just content for people to enjoy? Is it more of like an advertising thing? Is it kind of both when it comes to...
I think for me it's more of both. So when it comes to Sadies Benz, it's challenging right now because me and Drew aren't in the same location.
Yeah.
I would love to add more of that personal feel to the our page, our social media, but we don't have that option.
Yeah.
So it's something I'm trying to work around right now. What the feel and brand, I feel like I'm still trying to establish that with Sadies Benz, to be honest. I think branding is probably the most important thing when it comes to social media.
I agree.
People want to gravitate to a certain thing now these days. It's hard to lock them down, but when you can, get that pull, they see your brand, they recognize exactly what you like.
They want to know what they're buying.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I'm going through that right now with an artist, Blip Shift.
Yeah.
I do manage his Instagram, and honestly, we've built that brand, and everything that we've done is just it's been great. It's very car focused, because he's a car enthusiast. That's who he is.
It's perfect.
And honestly, most of the follows and views that he gets on all his reels are car enthusiasts, and I can tell he's been growing his social media very well these last few months. And it's starting to really work. So just to me, branding is just probably the most important thing. If people can't look at your page and see what you are, they're just probably going to move on.
Yeah, I agree. I've noticed I've seen a lot of talented people, and then you go to their page and it's like, it's a mess, you're just trying to figure out like, okay, he makes good music, but what's going on here? What's on the page? So that is a very good point. So artist, get your branding, get your logo, get all your content going, and people will notice. Trust me. They want to know what they're buying. It's like seeing the new Mercedes going down the road, or, you're going, I want that, or you saw the nice commercial, and it's all business, it's all sales.
And sometimes people, if they just like things, they just want to go to that thing again.
Yeah.
It's just
I know some people, they like nostalgic stuff, and with a new twist of new, and it brings them back to their childhood. And they, there's so many different options. But yeah, Blip Shift is doing really good when it comes to that. People see what he is. The music fits perfectly in all the videos. Like it's a total vibe. So props to you guys on figuring all that out. So,
yeah, I'm excited for him.
So I do have to ask, noticing, looking to sign, other people onto the collective, is that kind of one of the main things that you're looking for, or?
Yeah, I would love to grow, the collective, add more talented producers. I think that's probably the number one thing I look for, is, quality. Quality and passion, honestly.
Yeah.
You got to be very dedicated to this scene. Because we in a collective, we all put in a lot of work to support one another. So we feel like, if you're going to add to the team, you gotta be part of that.
Yeah.
And when I say quality, I mean, we're looking for talented producers. We're not just looking for local DJs who have no intention to really, produce. Because, we want to grow the artist. And I feel like in this scene, if you can produce and take your production to that next level,
that's huge.
That's where you can actually really, really do what you want.
Yep. Yeah. I've noticed that, like as conversations that you and I have had talking about, nothing wrong with just DJing, nothing wrong, but you got some big DJs that don't make music. And it's like, I think it's just mind blowing to me, because it's like, that's what I'm trying to work for, and then it's like, you see that opportunity they have, and you're like, oh man, if you just had some songs out, you could really take this to the next level. But for sure, if you produce, I think you got that 5% edge over everybody else, maybe even a higher percentage, because even when it comes to venues, I think they want to brand artists, they want brands to come in and they bring their audience, and it's so huge, and just a lot of people aren't capitalizing on that. But I mean, it's all part of it. So going onward, what kind of we got any shows coming up? We got any
Yeah, we got a big one. First one of the year for Angry Dog, which is House Haven on January 19th.
Drop that at
a really awesome club in Encinitas called Shelter, right off the Coast Highway. And I mean, they got a retractable roof. It's a total vibe. It's a fantastic club. Been going there for the past 10 years. Every weekend is just absolutely packed.
Okay.
Just all house music, house, tech house. It's always just been a vibe.
Awesome.
To me, it's probably the place to be in North County.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to have a show there.
I'm excited. I've never been up to anything that way other than with my band, just like little bar gigs or something here and there. So when you mentioned that, I was like, oh no way, I didn't know that there was even a place like that up in that area. So that's gonna be fun. I have a really good feeling about it. Any of the artists?
Yeah, so we're bringing out for our first show a fantastic headliner, a very talented local San Diego artist, Not.
Okay.
Not, shout out to him. He's got releases on Terminal Underground, Space Yacht.
Sound great. I added my playlist as soon as I found, like, oh, dude, this is it, man. I love it.
Yeah, this guy, very talented. He's also the music director over at Bloom down in San Diego. Okay. So he's very involved in the scene.
Yeah.
I think that's when it comes to us throwing shows, I always try to bring, all the, most talented people in San Diego, showcase them. And he's definitely, I think, one of the guys to look out for in San Diego.
Awesome. Yeah, I like your vision when it comes to these shows. Like you said, not only geographically is it in a different location, but it's kind of a different vibe, different feel of the venue. Like you said, even just the environmental factors kind of add that kind of excitement to it. The roof opening, the plants, it's an Encinitas. I mean, I got a good feeling for it. So that'll be January 19th for all you watching when this comes out. It's going to be about 2 weeks from now, right?
Yeah, just under 2 weeks. So
2 weeks. Okay, cool. Yeah. So Cash Colt's going to be there.
Yeah, we got Cash Colt, who's also signed to our collective.
Talented. Dude, those stuff you were sending me from, I was like,
oh man,
I know. Just so good, man. I was just bopping.
He always surprises me with the tracks. I love it. He'll be like, oh, dude, I won't be able to work on music for like a few months, and then like next week sends me like 2 tracks.
Yeah,
I'm like,
where'd you do this? Yeah.
He's like, I just wanted to mess with you. I love how he does that. But
yeah.
No.
And I know there was a little change to the lineup. Who's going to be the new?
Yeah. So unfortunately, Ian, unfortunately, he's a 7 Lions VJ. So they're going on Groove Cruise at 26, and it looks like they're
duty calls.
Yeah, so he looks like they're gonna be busy. Probably do some short shows before, since it's they're leaving for Miami. So it makes sense. So shout out Ian, we're gonna miss you, man. Wish you could be there.
Maybe on the next one we'll get you.
Yeah, but no, we're replacing Ian with a very talented San Diego producer and DJ. He actually just did a remix for our latest song, Jux.
Okay.
So we're very excited to have him, showcase him, and that would be Toe.
Toe.
Yeah.
I want to know where that name came from, Toe.
Yeah, I think I do too. But no, he's a local guy down in San Diego. Very talented. Been DJing, producing the last year, and rising quick. I'm very impressed by his talent in just the last year that he's started.
Awesome.
He's played shows at Avenue, Nova Terrace already. And then the remix that he did for Jux, I was man, it's a banger. To be honest.
Yeah, I can't wait for all those to release. Just a little package. Every single one of them, just a different little take on it. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna start getting crazy here in this new year. I got a feeling.
And then we have one more artist though. We got you though.
Oh yeah, we got me. That's right. We got me. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm so just grateful coming into this new year, just having a solid group of people just to kind of, the ideas are flowing. I feel like for the last 3 years, ever since 2020, we were doing really well as a band up until 2020. That kind of crashed. Then from there, I feel like everything's just kind of gotten lost. It wasn't until the halfway part of last year when you discovered, you found me and we started talking and I started producing more. Like, I feel more at peace, I would say, because now it's like, okay, because I got so many goals and visions, and it's like when I'm not working on them or achieving them, like I drive myself crazy, so I'm just so excited. 2023, we are here. We're in the second week already.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy.
It just feels magical. I can't describe it, so knock on wood, but big things coming, as all the local DJs say, but it's just the catchphrase nowadays, it seems like. But okay, so I probably, by the time that this video comes out, we've probably already made the announcement. So Angry Dog Records, let's talk about this.
Man, so
this co-production that we're endeavoring on
between me and you, we're starting this up, and I think me and you both just really wanted to start that local label, that same vision as my collective. Is just have that community and support where basically make that a label where artists want to go to. I think I've been through the label process enough, and you're going through it now.
I know. I'm still all new to. I'm like, here you go, send the song. I don't know what to do.
And I've gone through it, especially managing Cash Float and Blip Shift and sending off all their demos. I've learned a lot from the techno scene to more of the bass house tech and house scene that Sadies Benz, yourself, and Cash Cold are in. I've just learned that it's brutal. You're gonna have your ups and downs, and I think one thing I'm sure, if me and you are tired of it as artists, and I'm sure there's probably everyone else who is being asked to do a revision. Oh man, it's just like because we have a revision as artists, and sometimes obviously it doesn't align with the label, and I'd rather the label just be honest, like be straightforward, rather than be like, hey, we'd rather have you add a melody here, or change the breakdown, doesn't hit hard enough, you need to make the second drop hit harder, the track's too long, you need to shorten it to 3 minutes.
Well, I feel like it's so common amongst so many different labels. I couldn't even hone it down to like specifics. It's just like across the board, just dealing with that. And like you said, I would almost rather have them just go, hey, thanks but no thanks, here you go, like move on to the next one, and just kind of
for example, I've been sending off Blip Shift's newest techno demos, and I sent him to a label, and the A&R got back to me, and he was fantastic. He's just like, hey, great production, love the tracks, but just the sound doesn't really fit the label that well. Keep sending. That's perfect. Done with. Boom, moved on. Rather than let's try to fix the track, and then and then they still don't even sign it. That's something that I've actually gone through, is they ask for these revisions, you do them, and then it leads to nothing still. It's just, to me, what I've seen is there's just a lot of unnecessary work for the artist,
waste of time.
And it's just, that's brutal. So I know with Angry Dog Records, we don't want to have that approach. I think shout out to Storytime Records, awesome team, awesome crew. I think that label is kind of, their approach is the kind of approach I would like to have. Someone who just creates that feel, that family feel, and understands the artist's vision that they're going for their tracks.
I agree. That's huge, especially for longevity, long term. If you're not signing for what the vision is, you can't force a different vision on somebody and force them to do something else, because they'll either burn out, they'll get discouraged when they can't achieve somebody else's idea. It's all on the artist. And I feel like it's management wise, label wise, A&R, whatever it is, I feel like it's everybody's job to kind of boost the artist's confidence so they could create the best work that they're doing, as opposed to trying to force them to be something else. I think that's so big, and a lot of things are just missing it. So with Storytime, those 2 tracks that I sent, I was like, oh man, I don't know, we'll send it. And they're like, oh, they're signing in March. I'm like, oh my god, I can produce, because I feel like after so long of just trying, it's like, no. I mean, it was like a breath of fresh air. It was like, I could breathe again. I know what I'm doing. I did go to a school program. I know what, I know how to mix. I know how to master. Obviously there's a lot of work that can be done, but you got to positive reinforcement, I think, is huge with a lot of
It is.
A lot of,
with Sadies Benz, our sound is very unique and different than a lot of people. And because of that, we've always struggled with what label do we send our music to? And, because of that, we've gotten rejection just so much, and, to have a label like Storytime or just anyone else that we've ever worked with, believe in us. It's just, it's been so refreshing because it's just like you said, it's like, wow, people like what I'm doing.
Because it's like anybody could listen to something and there is an audience somewhere, somehow, that will listen. And I've especially learned that in the band scene. I mean, there are some bands that come through that are like, what in the world is this? And they bring 100 people and it's like, holy moly, who would have guessed? And it's just, so, we're going to kill it, man. I got a good feeling, so producers, engineers, there'll probably be a demo submission link in the bio by the time this releases. If you got any records you want to send in, go ahead and send it. We'll be there to support you 100% of the way. Even if we don't want to sign it, we're gonna offer you the support that you deserve because you're out there working hard. So, everybody needs it. That's just gonna be the betterment, So, with that being said, you think of any other future dates, any shows, maybe things just to stay on the lookout for other than the label and the shelter?
No, I think just some goals that we're gonna have as a collective this year is we're gonna definitely team up with some other other groups, other collectives, do some other shows. I would like to keep throwing things at shelter, but I think the ultimate goal for us is to really bring out a big headliner this year. Really throw a real party. Really get it going. Just keep growing what we're doing. We started small at AC Lounge, and they were a blessing for letting us come in, learn how to do things. So shout out to them and Gary and the team over there for letting us do that, learn. And we're just gonna go up from here. Honestly, I'm really excited. Perfect. Take those next steps, and man, I'm excited with the team that we have now. We got we got Cash Cult, we got Blip Shift. We're doing a lot, man. It's gonna be a busy year, and I'm really excited. Yeah, definitely. All right, man. Well, we got Christian of Angry Dog here. Thanks for coming out. This episode is going to be on Spotify, and the full episode is going to be on YouTube this time because we got the camera situation figured out. So check it out online. Tell your friends. If you like anything on here, share it. If you want to be on the podcast, send an email at the link down below. All artists, musicians, it doesn't matter what you do, are considered. And we hope you just enjoyed this. So this is Banyan. We'll see you later. Peace out.